Hi there. This is a video about the laws of exponents. We're going to be working today on the zero and the negative exponent rules. Now, in order for us to talk about these rules and arrive at how we use these rules, we have to remember the quotient rule, all right? So remember that the quotient rule for exponents is that some number a to the m divided by some number a to the n means that we subtract our exponents, a to the m minus n power. All right, let's start off with the zero exponent rule, all right? And what I want to do is just look at an example. Let's say that we've got 3 to the 5th power divided by 3 to the 5th power. Now, if we have something being divided by itself, we know that the answer is 1. However, if we use the quotient rule, we can say 3 to the 5th divided by 3 to the 5th as 3 to the 5 minus 5 power, which would end up giving us 3 to the 0 power. Well, wait a minute. We did this two different ways. We said something divided by itself we know is 1, and then if we use our quotient rule, we get 3 to the 0. But the reality is that once you get to this point, what you have to understand is that these two things are the same. Okay, so the rule that we can write, and this is the zero exponent rule, okay, is that any number raised to the 0 power is equal to 1. All right, and if I wanted to do an example, all right, so let's just say that you had 3,247 raised to the 0 power, it would be 1. All right, so anything raised to the 0 power is 1. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is negative exponents. All right, this is often very confusing for a lot of people, but I'm going to show you a way as to how you can simplify these and rewrite them. So let's first discover what a negative exponent means and the rule associated. So let's use the example of 4 squared divided by 4 to the 5th power. And we're going to do this two different ways. So I'm going to write out 4 squared over 4 to the 5th. Okay. The first way that we can do this is we can simply expand this out like we did when we did the quotient rule. So we can say 4 times 4 divided by 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay, 4 squared, 4 to the 5th, multiplying 4 by itself 5 times. And we can divide these 4s from our numerator to our denominator. 4 divided by 4 divides out to 1 over 1. 4 divided by 4 divides out to 1 over 1. You are then left with 1 over 4 to the 3rd power. Okay? So, you know, that you're left with 3 4s in your denominator. That's how you get 1 over 4 cubed. Now, if we use our quotient rule, we can write this as 4 to the 2 minus 5 power. Now, 2 minus 5, that's going to give us negative 3. So 4 to the negative 3. So wait a second. We did this two different ways, all right? We did it one way using our rule, one way of expanding it out, and we got two different things. However, what we have to realize is that these two things are the same thing. So now we can come up with a rule, all right? And so the rule for negative exponents is that, let's say you have some number a raised to the negative n power. That's going to give us 1 over a to the nth power, all right? And that's how we do that. So that's the rule, all right? And so what I want to do is talk about a couple of things associated with this rule. And I want to look at a couple of examples with this. Let's say that you had x to the negative 7 power. All right, we could just automatically rewrite that as 1 over x to the 7th. Now, one of the ways that I explain this is that I write x to the negative 7, and I make this a fraction. I put that over 1. And what I do, and this is just kind of what I do in my head, but I take whatever has a negative exponent in my numerator, and I put it down into my denominator and make it positive. And I write out 1 over x to the positive 7, okay? And that's how I think about that, because then you could also have something like this. All right, let's say you had 1 over x to the negative 7. All right, using our rule, and this is a little bit trickier to see, but it's you would write this as simply just x to the positive 7th power. So you'll encounter these kinds of things later on, and what you'll see, I'm just going to rewrite it over here. In my head, what I do, whatever has a negative exponent, and this is already in the denominator, I'm going to move it into my numerator and make it positive, all right? So then we would end up getting just x to the positive 7 and then over 1. And we don't, when we write it out as our answer, we would just write as x to the 7th, okay? And that's the idea, all right? So those are those 2 rules. Pretty simple, yet a little confusing, sometimes hard to remember, but those are your 2 rules. Please let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.